But for the rest of us, Jean-Michel, I'm excited to learn from you.
Yeah, so yeah, my funnel looks great right now. I'll tell you mostly because I've been doing speaking engagements, right? And so that's something we're going to talk a little bit about, putting your events together. I did one last night for a well-known career coaching agency out of Silicon Valley, and I've had a dozen people connected with me, and already 12 great calls booked for next week. So it works. It works pretty well. Hey, Jeremy, nice to see you here. Thanks for joining today.
Sorry for the complexity. So everyone meet Jeremy. He is our gifting guru. So he'll be sharing some gifting insights on Friday. So if you're sick of just approaching people online, he's a good one for that. So Ed, who some of you met yesterday, will be doing email, and Jeremy will be doing gifting. So hopefully Jean-Michel and I will talk very little tomorrow or on Friday.
Yeah, thanks for getting me on here. I'm not sure what the technical difficulties was. So
well, that's why you like everything offline. So
that sounds great. Well, good to have you here, Jeremy. So let me share my screen. So let's get going. So this is being recorded. So pay attention, ask questions. Don't worry so much about copying and doing screenshots all over the place. You will get the recording. Okay, so trying to reassure you here, guys. All right. I'm going to close the poll. So just to remind everybody, because I know there's some confusion on that. So we're doing a series of three 1-hour webinars this week. We did one on Monday. We're doing one today and one on Friday with our two special guests, Jeremy and Ed. And of course, our special offer, we're starting a brand new mastermind cohort for B2B sellers. So make sure you bring your credit card and your checkbooks. Okay, great. So anyway, what are we talking about today? So Tim did a lot of the talking on Monday. So he asked me, Jean-Michel, can you take care of today? And then you don't have to do anything on Fridays. So I thought that was a pretty good deal, except for you guys, right? Because now nobody wants to hear me drone on and on and on about talking about the amazing powers of LinkedIn, right? So please, Jeremy, Tim, feel free to rescue me every once in a while, okay? So what are we going to talk about today? So you've seen here now the issue is a new selling mode, right? The new market with a proliferation of tools, AI tools, automation, marketing automation systems, and everybody is spamming the heck out of everybody else, right? And so for you to stand out and be effective in your selling process, we have to move into hyper-targeting of your target audience and hyper-personalization of your brand messaging. Okay, so that's the direction we're trying to take you and show you. So how do we move to hyper-targeting first? Okay, so how do we identify those potential warm leads and which sources can we use? So I'm going to talk a little bit about, I'm going to show you two case studies today, and how to harness the power of Sales Navigator for targeting #1 accounts. Tim talked about that on Monday. It's a really good process to start with targeting the right company first. And you're in luck because Sales Navigator has a lot of very powerful filters for accounts or companies, okay? And I'll show you how we switch from companies to leads, okay? Now, I'm going to show you a case study, in the second case study, on how you can leverage LinkedIn buyer intent to identify those warmer leads out of your group of leads, okay? And LinkedIn, basically, LinkedIn is leveraging its ad campaign engine, okay, to let you know who is in market right now for over 30,000 different type of products, okay? And every week I look, there's another few thousand that LinkedIn start monitoring. It started in October of a year ago, okay? That's when LinkedIn really started being serious about buyer intent and testing it seriously. And those are mostly software systems. So, but I'm going to show you, even if you don't sell software, how you can leverage that.
And if you did try this early on, like Jean-Michel and I went back like 6 months later, so it's definitely much better than it was at the end of 23.
Yeah,
or
so
the end of 22. Sorry.
exactly. Then I mentioned smart navigator searches and trigger events. So if you're like me and you're getting into your LinkedIn account settings and your sales navigator account every once in a while, you're like, okay, what happened? Things change, things move, right? So LinkedIn is making a lot of changes constantly right now. So we're trying to keep up, but those changes are for the best, for the better guys, right? Because LinkedIn is really moving into the direction of, number one, leveraging AI, okay, to eventually connect you with the right people. And also LinkedIn is really now keeping track of your leads for you and notifying you of specialized trigger events. Okay, and that's when you want to reach out to those people. So we have to pay attention to those. Okay, then we will talk about how to use automation and AI for hyper personalization to scale. Okay, so again, we need to find the right balance between personalization and automation at scale. And we show you there are some tools that can allow you to do that, okay? So we don't have to sacrifice efficiency everywhere, okay? So I'll show you how there's some great AI tools right now that are specialized to develop, to develop icebreakers, personalized icebreakers for you based on a LinkedIn profile, and personalized videos that scale as well. And I will talk a little bit more about your daily routine on LinkedIn. That's part of our social selling training in our private corporate workshops with Tim. And we're finally coming out. We're going to give everybody access to our knowledge publicly in our mastermind cohort on Friday. And then we'll talk a little bit about the power of events. I know, and Tim, do you want to mention a little bit about why you're adding event to your mix of strategies?
Yeah, so I mean, I guess virtually during COVID, it was really powerful. So Jean, Michelle, and we have some slides we'll like show you, but we were really like doing virtual roundtables. So we'd get someone like the three of us or a couple other people, you get one champion that loves you. Like that person's job is to validate that you're good, that, basically sell for you with a current customer champion. Then you get a bunch of prospects on, but it's really from the prospect's perspective, like they get to meet with other peers, they get some insights. And then from your job is just to like ask really good questions. So that becomes a really good discovery call for you. And by asking good questions, you're qualifying the prospect and you're also showing that you know what you're talking about. So it's very not a salesy approach. And then webinars like what we're doing here, where we're just educating people. And then Jean-Michel has like a whole campaign, which you probably have seen, of just constantly every like 2 or 3 days add value, give some tips to get people into the webinar. And then the post-event strategy is the real follow-up. So, we have a half dozen people on here, but like over 100 people signed up. So a lot of people will watch your webinar after the fact. They'll engage afterwards. So like the last roundtable I did, four people were on it. One customer, net new part of the organization, a net new prospect. So I had a 50% uptick of opportunities out of 4 people. And so I think both options are really good. And then as we go into real world approach of meeting people back now that COVID's over, this also works. So, I'm doing some in-person events, driving the same thing, but rather than saying like, come to a virtual event, I'm targeting people locally in the Philadelphia area, and you get a couple hundred people to sign up, and then you just drive them to attend in person.
Perfect. Thanks, Tim. So let's start with Sales Navigator, okay? So I'm going to do a first case study for you guys. And I prepared for that, so we can move a bit faster for that, because guess what? It takes research. And, you have to think of LinkedIn as an amazing database, right? There's a lot of data points. So use LinkedIn Sales Navigator to interrogate that database and learn about your target market, right? That's what we do. That's how you can do, right? By changing filters, right? So you can see, okay, the distribution of companies in certain industry, in a certain location, okay? how is it distributed in terms of annual revenue, company size, etc. So you learn about your market by just interrogating LinkedIn, right? So this is a case study, the first case study that I'm creating for. So I noticed someone I know, Rodrigo Vega, who registered for a webinar. So Rodrigo, if you're not here today, I'm sure you'll see us in the replay. So Rodrigo works with B2B development company. So they're basically vetting and hiring the top 1% software developers in Latin America, starting with Argentina. Okay, and then they also outsource their work, right? So basically, they are looking clients. So Rodrigo, this is for you. So here's a plug for you here. So I can't wait for those referral commissions to flood into my bank account. Okay, anyway, just kidding. So you can do two things, right? So you're developing softwares for clients. So you can do two things. You can look for clients one-on-one, right? Look for companies that are currently having a need for developing, a blockchain app, a mobile app, a fintech model, Web3, etc., right? All the stuff that's hot on the market right now, right? That's tough, right? But you go after a company. How do you know if they are actually in need of a type of software, right? The other thing you can do now, this is the strategy I'm showing you here. Remember, it's about strategic partnerships, right? So here, this is the idea here. We're gonna, for a company, for example, that outsource software development, you want to look for your competitors who outsource most of the work. That's one idea, right? So what does that mean? It means like I'm going to target software design and development companies, software development, IT service, technology companies, right? In the US, in this case, I'm going to look at a certain company size. I don't want to target companies that are too big, because they're too big. I know, of course, they have their own in-house teams of software developers. They're going to hire us, right? So remember, I'm talking as B. Harris now on behalf of Rodrigo. You're welcome. Okay. And then, I can look at annual revenue. I can look at, are the companies growing? Are they doing well? But, here, for example, I'm going to look at the headcount of a particular type of department in the company. So I'm going to look at the engineering department, right? That's where the software developers are sitting in this type of industry, in this type of companies. So I'm looking at companies that have a large sales force, okay, basically large sales and marketing, but that have a very small in-house engineering team. So what does that tell me? It tells me that they outsource most of the work, right? And if I'm offering now landing Latin American developers, they're very talented, but they're also more affordable than developers in the US, right? So that gives me an advantage as an outsourcer, right?
So think about your inboxes. How many companies outreach to you asking you, do you do .NET or Java? And I'm not here to talk about messaging, but this simple thing of the number of employees you have and the department headcount would filter these offshore companies like 95% of their bad prospecting of their ICP. So when you think about your business, like most of my clients fit this kind of profile, but think about if you're outsourcing things that aren't software, right? But you're doing consulting, that there's a large number of employees, and then the department that you're helping, so you're providing marketing services and they have a very small marketing department. This will help you really narrow down your ICP so you're not wasting time prospecting people that are going to say, like, I'm a one-person company, like I don't outsource, or hey, I'm a really, really large company, I have a huge internal organization, like I'm not going to outsource my marketing, as a corollary example of this.
Exactly. So if you're a fractional CMO or fractional CRO, guess what? You're more likely to be hired by that and get your foot in the door. It's another way to do it, right? We've actually a number of clients like this. So you see here, I started with account filters, guys, right? Accounts are good companies. And now I can play around with that. I can refine as much as I want, but I'm looking at about 1,000 companies, right? Because LinkedIn is only going to show me the top 1,000 results. Just like Google is only going to show you the top 1,000 results. Even it tells you there is 3 million results in the search, right? You're never going to be able to access all 3 million results. LinkedIn is the same way. So I try typically to keep that search of companies to 1,000 or less, okay? So you get the idea. You can refine that search by location, anything you want. So now I have a list of companies. What do I do with them? So you can see here, I can start selecting 25 of them at a time. I click that box here, and then I'm going to save those companies into a specialized list. Okay. So I already saved those companies for you in a list called Test One Outsourcing Software Development. Okay. So there's two ways you can do that. We've developed software systems, so we can download that list of 1,000 companies outside of LinkedIn and then upload it back into LinkedIn. I'll show you how to do that. Or you can do it 25 at a time, right? So you see here, I selected those 25 companies, I saved them to list, and then I'm going to go down, go to the next page, the next 25, select those 25, save them to that list, etc., etc. You get the point? So you can hire someone for 20 minutes to do this for you and grab those and save those 1,000 companies into one list, okay? Why do we do this? Because that's how we're going to switch now from account filters to leads or people's filters, okay? All right, so let's go. So now that I have selected the right company for me to target, I'm going to a lead search, okay? And I've already prepared that ahead of time for you guys. So in that lead search, I'm going to tag the list I just created under account list. Okay, so now LinkedIn is only showing me employees at those 1,000 companies. Okay, so now that I know I'm targeting the right companies' employees, I'm refining my ICP, and Tim talked a little bit about that. So in this case, what I want to talk to, I'm going to talk to where directors or above, right? Because I want to talk to decision makers, don't necessarily want to talk to a programmer, okay? And I'm going to look at people who are involved with technology, decision makers involved with technology, engineering, product, project, technical, design, and also you can remove different type of filters, right?
Yeah, so Jean-Michel, show them, like right now there's 1.5K plus, but say senior is not really your decision maker, so take senior out.
Okay, so I can take senior
as
out.
an example, right?
Perfect. So now I have 550.
Yeah. So you can refine this as much as you want to get down, but usually 1,000 targets is like where I try to manage 1,000 contacts.
Right. Now with LinkedIn, LinkedIn will show you up to 2,500 leads. Those are people. And of course, we have tools to download them. We can identify their LinkedIn email accounts for you and then, share that list with our clients to put them into a LinkedIn campaign or an email campaign. So that's what happens after that. But right now we're showing you how to hyper target the right people to talk to, right? To engage, to build relationships with, right? So you see here, and I want you to pay attention to the strategy. If you're not very privy of that particular industry, you may not exactly understand the turn of phrases, the job title of phrases used for that industry. So again, use LinkedIn to test, right? So you can see here, I'm looking for seniority level, and I'm looking for particular keywords in their job title. So you see how powerful those search engines. So LinkedIn is going to show me everybody that fits those filters. So of course, look at that. I'm going to get the CTOs. Makes sense, right? I'm going to get the CTOs. I'm going to get co-founders, senior directors. I'm going to get a VP of compliance and technology, right? I'm going to get senior VPs of technology. I'm going to get, so you get, you're learning, right? You're learning director of technology. So those are the right director of product management, right? So products are basically, products, that's how they work with their clients, right? So basically, those companies, they have their own marketing and sales systems. That's their job to find clients. And it's your job now as a member of BERS, right? Remember, I'm acting as Rodrigo now. it's our job to provide the manpower to fulfill the needs of their clients, right? It's pretty cool, right? So that's case study number 1. Okay, so hopefully you guys get a little more private here, more comfortable with what you can do with LinkedIn. Now I can do some more cool things here, right? So I can refine my search. So those are the people I need to talk to, right? So first I'm going to find out how many of them am I connected to, right? So I'm going to activate the connection filter, right? And see how many of them I'm connected to. If I'm connected to them, I guess what? I can message them directly, re-engage them. Hey, John, sorry, it's been a while since we talked. I've been busy, blah, 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 right? And then get into a conversation again, right? So that's one thing. Now, another thing I want to show you, you're going to find, you're going to look at what used to be called spotlight filters. LinkedIn has changed again, right? So I can look at people, at those that have posted on LinkedIn in the past months. There's 107 of them. Why should I target those first? Because I know they are more active on LinkedIn. They're posting on LinkedIn. They're more savvy with LinkedIn. They're easier to engage on LinkedIn, correct? So I will start with those people. If some of them have been mentioned in the news, that's a great trigger event for me to reach out to them and congratulate them on that mention, on that new award, and get into a business conversation, right? Change jobs. So any of those people recently changed jobs, they recently joined the company. We talked about this on Monday. What's cool about that? They're under a lot of pressure to perform, right? And they're more likely to shake things up and try new vendors, right? Because I'm a new vendor for them, right? Basically. So
you and I had a difference of opinion on this one, right? So from my perspective, depending on what you sell, right? Maybe they just come in early, they're new hire, they're VP of sales, and you're selling sales training. Like that person, may get pushback from their executives, like, we hired you to manage the team, so I don't want to invest in sales training when I just hired a VP of sales. But a year later, after they're there, like, they might be willing to do it. So when you think of your ICP and how long they've been in an organization, does it make sense to target them like right when they switch jobs, or like after they've been there for a certain period? So Jean-Michel and I just kind of went back and forth, but I wanted to kind of give you some visibility into using that little setting.
No, that's cool. And so yeah, with different style and difference of opinions, and sometimes it works for different industry, not so effectively for industry. So thanks for that, Tim. You're putting me on the hot seat again.
Always good to disagree, my friend.
So okay, it's the case study number 1. Now I want to show you a second case study. We're going to use very similar strategy, but I'm going to show you now how to activate buyer's intent with that second case study. So second case study, now it's another one of my former clients. I saw registered for the webinar. Okay, Paolo Retegui. Paolo, if you see us, it's nice to see you here. So here's something for you. Paolo is working with Insperity, and basically Insperity is a CPEO. It's basically a company that outsources HR services, okay, for companies that don't have the luxury or the manpower to build their own HR department. Okay, it's pretty cool, right? So let's look at, so again, we're going to start targeting companies for that, right? So I'm going to use similar ideas. Again, I can target company of a certain size. Again, if they are too small, they probably can't afford me. If they are too big, they probably have their own HR department, they are multi-location, etc. Right? So obviously, they're not going to be interested in working with us. They're already doing it in-house, right? You may target by annual revenue. Now, I also can target a general company headcount growth. I know the company is growing because there's no point in hiring my services as an HR person if the company is not growing, right? It's not going to do anything for me, not as much. So I'm looking for companies that have large growth, 15 to 40% growth in the past year. So, there's a lot of things going on. There's employees coming and going, employee training, there's a lot of things happening there, right? They need help. They're overwhelmed. And again, so in this case, we're looking at mostly manufacturing, pharma, biotech, engineering, environmental services, medical practice, hospitals. That's the area. That's the industries they specialize in. Okay, that's a choice.
And then, before we go there, so the industry. So if you think about the last use case, if you're an app development or offshore development company, and you have a successful use case in manufacturing, then you could also set these filters. So you're only targeting the industries that you have had success with. So the previous example was like generic IT or software development. But if you have really good success stories in certain industries, like this is a great way to narrow your ICP based on your success.
That's a great point, Tim, because then you have the right marketing assets to show social proof, right? So a case study, that's very, very powerful. Actually, we work with a lot of clients that don't have any brochures or case studies, and so we encourage them to do that, right? So definitely start focusing on those companies. You have a great track record helping, and then again, I'm looking at the HR department with 1 or 2 people, maybe, right? So I know they need help. I know they may be already outsourcing their HR services, but that's okay because I know we have the most competitive pricing on the market. The most comprehensive training programs on the market. We have a large healthcare company partnership, so we can offer their employees great benefits at a low medical cost. Okay, so I'm not afraid to go into with those companies and steal them from their previous CPE partner. Does it make sense? Okay, so now I've identified 1,000 companies, some ideas, right? You can play around with those filters. So I'm going to select those companies 25 at a time. I'm going to save them to a new list, or use our tools. We can download 1,000 just like this and upload it back into a list. Anyway, I can show you how to do this right now, actually. So, if I go to my account tab on the Sales Navigator, okay, so I have an advanced LinkedIn Sales Navigator account, so it may not look the same for you. You can see here in the top right corner, I have a blue button, Upload Account. So actually, LinkedIn is going to allow me to upload a list of companies in a CSV format. So if you didn't know that, that's pretty cool, right? So I'll give you an example. So we're working with a client here that has the best visitor and employee entry management system on the planet. Okay, so they monitor. They have a special kiosk, and they monitor everybody that comes in. They specialize in healthcare because now it's all about the experience of the patients, the family who is visiting, the visitors, and the employees themselves at the hospital, for example, right? So now we started a campaign. We're looking at strategic partners with Zebra. Okay, so resellers with Zebra, for example, this is what they do, right? They specialize in selling specific type of softwares, and hardwares in this type of industry to their target audience. They already established resellers. Okay, so we can download a list of those reseller companies from Zebra and upload it back into LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is not necessarily the answer-all. You will find the right people at those companies using LinkedIn, other systems, Zoom Info, etc. But basically, you could also leverage other powerful database outside of LinkedIn first. It's always best to have the LinkedIn company URL if you can, and Zebra offers that. And then now you can start with a targeted, warm list of accounts, upload that back into your Sales Navigator, and then go to the next exercise to find the right decision makers at those companies, right? Pretty cool, right? So now let's continue that second case study. So now I have, let me do this, move Zoom out of the way a little bit. Okay. So you see now I use similar filters as before, right? So under account list, I selected my list of outsourcing HR service companies that we identified in the previous step. And then I'm looking for the right people to talk to at those companies, right? So in this case, it's a little different. I'm going to talk to the VPs, the CFOs. So I'm talking to the decision makers there, right? Those companies may be a little smaller. So I'm going to talk to the two people in HR. Okay, I'm going to talk to the owners, the founders, the managing partners, the CFO, the controllers. But those are people that manage the purse, right? So those are the decision makers. A lot of the time in the company, you know, you may want to reach out to the controllers, the CFO, and they will exert pressure on the CEO. You know, if you're having trouble reaching, making a case for the CEO, right? So, and now that I have that list of people, you know, so I have 5,500 of those people there, right? So about five per company or so. I can activate again spotlight filters, but I want to show you something else here now. Now I can activate buyer intent. Okay, so I'm going to click category interest, and now I'm going to look at you know, any kind of softwares that work with employees. Okay, so let's look at that. We have employee scheduling software, and you know, I've did a little bit of research. We're going to look at, for example, employee performance management software. So those people of those companies, you know, they don't have an HR department, but they are actively in market right now for performance management softwares. So you see, out of those 5,000, LinkedIn identifies 963 of those people that have showed intent in buying these type of softwares.
So the interesting thing in this model is if you're doing HR and you know that they don't have an HR department, but they're actively investing, like that's probably a good opportunity to outsource, even if you're not a software vendor or a SaaS provider, right? So there's a lot of buyer intent here. The hard part with Sales Navigator is it is telling you at the company level that there's intent. So you've got to use your brain and figure out, okay, who would be the ultimate decision maker for this? And is that person the same decision maker for my stuff? Right. So when that intersects, that's where buyer intent becomes really powerful.
Exactly. And of course, you can refine that, you know, based on your ICP. If you know, if your experience in your industry, you know the right people that you should talk to, then of course you're going to take that knowledge and plug it into Sales Navigator. Now here again, I can play around with the spotlight filters. So you've seen, you know, Tim and I differ on people who recently changed jobs. That's okay. But, you know, out of those 960 people who showed buyer intent, 300 of them have posted on LinkedIn in the past months. So guess what? I'm going to start with those people first because I know they're active on LinkedIn. 7 of them are mentioned in the news. That's a trigger event for me. Okay,
yeah,
to go after.
So I'll show you the mention in the news where I use that to get a meeting. But the posted on LinkedIn is powerful because you know that they're active, so you can lead with LinkedIn as your first outreach channel. And then you also can engage with them differently, right? So they're going to be very numb to the idea of connecting and immediately selling to me. But if they're posting on LinkedIn, you can do the commenting strategy. And if you weren't on the last call, you can, you know, listen to the recording, but I go through some of these commenting strategies. And then if they're not active on LinkedIn, then you may want to reach out through a different channel first, like email or cold calling them, and then follow up on LinkedIn if they're not active.
Exactly. Perfect. So so don't be afraid to refine, you know, your target audience. You know, if you fuse out, so the warmer the audience, the better. So always start with your best prospect first, right? So you know, and you don't have to start with 1,000 companies, right? So if you're selling very high ticket services or software or systems, you know, you can start with 50 or 100 companies, your top accounts, you know. And the advantage of now putting your top accounts into a list, so you could, you know, you could basically add companies, you know, if you go back to company filters, account filters, if you like, you know. Well, where's the? I'm not looking. I'm not seeing the company name here. Maybe I'm missing something here. Well, it used to be the company. I'm not seeing the company name here. Anyway, you can actually tag specific companies directly into Sales Navigator and build your own account list and name it. Okay. So when you do this and you activate, so you actually activate the warnings from LinkedIn, the timely warnings from LinkedIn. So I'm going to go back to the presentation. I know we spent quite a bit of time just on that, but it's something we really want you to be comfortable with and cognitive of, because it's very, very powerful. You know, and most people we talk to are just not leveraging the amazing power of LinkedIn and Sales Navigator. Okay, so we talked about leads, accounts and lead searches, but with buyer intent. Now, there's another cool things that some people have been doing through our event too, right? So you can search for LinkedIn events of your competitors on LinkedIn, right? So you can search for events.
If you do that and you're using automation to do that, don't reach out and say like, oh, I see that we attended the same event. Like, be a little more subtle about it. Know that they're showing buyer intent, that they're looking for similar services, but don't just say like, hey, I see that you're on that lead. That approach hasn't been very successful.
It worked years back, but not so much anymore. Yeah. So exactly, so that's cool. So, so to scrape and we've tagged already people in out of those 120 that's registered. We know who you are. Okay. So we know who you are, and some people have already scraped our list. That's okay. But basically you need to register. Once you register, you have access to the event attendees, and you can also use a regular LinkedIn search to further refine the target audience. Of course, we have tools to do that. We can download the whole list of attendees and then review it carefully to make sure we identify the right people for us, out of that list. So like Tim said, the advantage, if somebody registers for an event, they're already, they are showing a pain point, right? They have a problem, and they think that the presenters are going to help them solve that problem. So it's half of the battle, right? LinkedIn group members. So I haven't talked a little bit about that. So that's pretty cool, actually. Let me show that to you back here. So that's something we do very well. So, once you have a list of people, right? That's what we're talking about here, right? So you have identified a list of people you want to engage, okay? Etc. etc. Okay, so you can play with those filters. So I want to show you, so there's different things. How do we reach out to them, right? So there's different channels you can activate on LinkedIn. If there are a connection, great, you can DMs, okay? We have tools to download them and identify those that are open profilers. So those are people that can receive a free direct email from you, and they must have a premium account to be able to do that, okay? What else can we do? Okay, so I'm going to show you now a strategy to identify which LinkedIn groups those people are hanging out. So now I have a list of 5,500 people that I would like to reach out to, okay? So I'm going to scroll down to the group tab. Make sure you remove all, networking, first level, second connection filters when you do this. And I'm going to click the group tab, and I'm just going to type something, okay? Forbes, whatever. Don't worry about what it is. You just want to activate that feature. LinkedIn is kind of cranking right now. Come on, come on, come on. All right, let's try again. All right, well, I'm sorry it's not showing it. LinkedIn is, it's a visitor's effect, right? We want to show you something, and of course it's not. So I was just trying to type the name of a group. Okay, here it is, finally. So I'm gonna just grab any group. It doesn't matter what it is, okay? I'm grabbing any group. Of course, that's a wrong group, right? There's only nine of my CP in this group. But now look at what's happening right under there. LinkedIn is going to show me the top LinkedIn group with a larger number of my target audience. Okay, so you can see here, LinkedIn HR #1 human resource groups. This group has 235 of my target audience.
Yeah.
Pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
So why is that interesting? No, but anyway, so I was showing how to select the right LinkedIn groups, where the largest number of your target audience hangs out. so you can activate the direct messaging through the group interface, okay? Of course, we have tools to do that, but you can do it manually as well. So the fastest way to get accepted into a group is to message. So email, that's an important, it's a great opportunity for you to use your email credits with Sales Navigator, okay, 50 months. And or send them an invitation to connect. So message the administrator and the group owners directly and let them know of your interest in joining the group. You know, and our clients in 3 weeks get accepted in 66% of the group that way, okay? And at the bottom of the slide, I showed you an example of a message I would use that works very well. You know, I would say, Sarah, I discovered your, I'm going to say impressive profile, if it's impressive, right? If not, don't use it. I discovered your profile in LinkedIn group. I'd love to join to learn, share, and contribute. That's very important. Reciprocity, okay? So use those words to learn, share, and contribute, okay? Goes both ways. I want to contribute, but I want to learn as well, okay? So be humble a little bit. Now, I'm not going to be posting in that group. That's okay, okay? I'm only going to be a group member so I can message other group members directly. Okay, so that's another channel you guys can activate pretty quickly. Okay.
We'll go back to how active your industry is. Did you review that?
Yeah, go ahead.
So one of the like the cool things that I've heard from people is like, hey, I'm in a really niche industry. So things like IT is like pretty active, but even if your industry isn't very active on LinkedIn, there's probably potentially a really large like sub niche that you can get into. So, you know, don't get too frightened by not highly active people. You just want to figure out who the people are that are active and engage with them.
Now, remember, I mentioned to you, once you tag your accounts or people in list or leads in list in Sales Navigator, and you save, you know, or you save the search, LinkedIn is going to give you regular alerts. So there is some examples that I'm receiving, you know, alerts I'm receiving from LinkedIn. Okay, so it tells me that Giancarlo was mentioned in the news. So okay, so that's an opportunity for me to engage him and congratulate him, right? It's telling me who's has a current career change. Okay, so maybe Angela was a former client. You know, we offered our services through her in the company. Now she's working with the different companies. So guess what? I need to congratulate her and see if she would consider using our services again with her new employer, right? Because she's got the proof, she knows she has seen what we can do for her, and she can recommend us and our services to her new employer. So that's an opportunity, right? To keep the ball going, right? The ball rolling, right? Comtech shared an update, so maybe I can comment on a post, okay? Integraserve shared an update, right? So if that's an important account that I've been following, I can engage with that post, you know, and get on the radar of those decision makers, right? And then Kim has shown buyer interest. Okay, so now the means she's starting to poke around for that service, for that software. Okay, so you want to reach out to those people timely. You know what they say, right? The top 3% are the people that are ready to work with you. So instead of spraying and praying, right, and just sending a message to 1,000 people and hoping you grab those 30, instead focus on those people that are hot right now, you know, through timely alerts. Okay, makes sense. And team is really good at that. All right. So what else can you do to get in front of your ICP, right? So we talked a little bit about that, and I know we're running out of time, so I'm going to go through that pretty quickly. But we can view their profile, we can follow their profile, we can follow their company page, right? And this creates notification. Okay. Someone views me back, so I'll show you. You know, I'm going to focus on people who view my profile. That's pretty powerful. I can engage with their post. I can comment. I can add value, show my expertise, add value, you know, create disruption, okay? Maybe I'll tag an influencer. I'll tag someone that I know that I can recommend someone that I want to build a relationship with, right? So I can recommend them to as an expert to someone else. Okay, so they'll be grateful. They're more likely to want to talk to me, right? Of course, I can invite them to connect at some point. Okay, always offer value. And we're going to talk a little bit about congratulations and skills. That's super powerful. Okay. So one strategy that we've seen work very well, you know, if you are careful about building a quality network over time, you know, congratulation messages are a great way to stay top of mind with your connection, right? So this is an example of a client, but my numbers are very similar. We both have about 10,000 connections. So, you know, with 10,000 connections, that gives me about 900 congratulation opportunities a month. So every month I can re-engage 10% of my connection in a natural, non-salesy way. You know, and I'm using cartoons, fun. You know, I wish them well on their special event, and I can offer a special gift, right? A free gift. I use humor, and people re-engage. And then I looked at who re-engaged, and if they fit my ICP, bang, I re-engage them into a business conversation. Ask a question, right? Pretty cool. So actually, I closed 30% of my business from that strategy alone, and many of our clients close at least a quarter of their clients from that. You understand why it's powerful? Because you had many touch points throughout the year with everybody in a network, right? You can engage everybody 4 or 5 times a year in a natural way through that strategy alone. So as an example, 3 months ago, I connected with someone that was interested in my services. They were doing something else at the point. Their attention was somewhere else. That's okay. I didn't push. And then last week they had a birthday. Okay. They got my message. They wrote back, thanked me, and says, Jean-Michel, actually would like to talk to you again. And bang, you know, we're on a business conversation and a call again. So super powerful, non-salesy strategy. You can also endorse their skills because we can automate all of this at scale for our clients, right? So by regularly endorsing the skills of your connection, LinkedIn notify them, hey, team endorsed you for psychotherapy, right? Because we know that's not team's ICP, but that's an example, right? So bang, they may write back to you and says, hey team, thank you for endorsing me. And bang, you're in a conversation again. Because what happens, so I want you to understand the power of that. That's going to create conversation back. So number one, you messaging your connection in a natural way at scale. And number two, many of them write back. So what that does, and now when I'm posting something on LinkedIn, those people that have engaged on LinkedIn in the past months will see my post. So this is a natural way for me to drive traffic to my post, independently of what LinkedIn is tinkering with the algorithm or what. I don't care what LinkedIn is doing. Okay, because I'm forcing LinkedIn to show my post to my connections, which is a third of the traffic. Okay, a third of posts you will see on your home feed comes from a third of posts come from your connection, a third from ads, and sponsored posts by company pages, and a third from influencers. Okay, about something like that. All right. So remember the power of trigger events, right? LinkedIn is going to give you a lot of information about those. By the way, LinkedIn will tell you if a company was recently funded, right? I didn't show you that filter in the account filters. LinkedIn will show you some of the companies that recently got funded. We have clients that leverage that strategy very well, right? Because they help them spend the money wisely. Okay, so that's a different strategy you can use. So here's a list of different trigger events. You can, you know, what has changed with the company? Is there a new merger, acquisition, or a recent IPO? You know, maybe they have released, you know, a quarterly report. Maybe they have received the awards, you know, awards in the news. So take advantage of those trigger events. It's a great way to start conversation. So team, do you want to show us a little bit of your savvy here?
Sure. So I think from a social selling, I'm not a big fan of connect and pitch. I mentioned in my talk on Monday that I do believe in an omni-channel approach. So here's some examples of how I'm doing it in LinkedIn that's getting what I call sales qualified leads. So the one on the left was like someone was in a generic group that I'm in, and they just sent out a generic group message to me. And so I'm reaching out, seeing how I can help them. And they're probably early on, they may or may not have gone through Jean-Michel's training, but they're either lazy or they're just grabbing the groups in an automated way. And I'm clearly not their ICP. So this allowed me to, book a call with them and coach them on how to identify their ICP easier. On the right side, this is really for my clients. Like, I really think that a partner channel is a really great way to go to market. So I had got some intel that Google is really putting pressure on partners. So I reached out to the guy saying, "Hey, we've had a lot of success in these areas, worth a chat." Guy ignores me. I sent him voicemail, email, and LinkedIn. They got their new territory, their new comp plan. And a day or two after the new comp plan, he reached right back out to me because now he's got his marching orders and he was able to engage. But I touched him in 3 different ways, and that was it. I didn't stalk him. I just reached out. The last one is the one where Jean-Michel's showing you like someone's in the news. So I said, "Hey, I saw a nice write-up of what you're doing. Would love to connect," and instantly got a meeting based on the fact that I saw that my ICP had gone in the news, which is a flag on LinkedIn. And so those are 3 ways that I've gotten really specific meetings based on the data on LinkedIn.
Great, thanks, Tim. Now you and I have a different style, right? So we have different social selling styles.
All about results, my friend. Every approach is only good if it gets results.
So me, I'm more a little bit warm and fuzzy, right? So I am more personable, and I don't mind taking more time to develop a friendship with people first. Okay, so that's my style. Okay, find your style, because you have to be comfortable in social selling. It's very important you're authentic with who you are, so you have to bring your authentic energy into everything you do, right? And that's very important. So Tim has his own style, I've got my own style, but you can see some of my results, so if people connect with me, I send them a warm and fuzzy welcome message. And so you can see Victor on the left here. Well, this is one of the best first messages I've ever gotten here on the platform. Appreciate the amount of value, always offer value for free, right? Golden nuggets. Educate people on LinkedIn, even if you're not in the business of selling LinkedIn services. Okay, it's okay, because we are all here on LinkedIn learning and trying to leverage the platform the best possible way. So I shared some apps that I use, on Monday. Feel free to use them. Feel free to share the MMT AI generated, AI powered app with people. They would be grateful. So share great value. Looking forward to your thoughts on my educational email course and your email about LinkedIn SEO. So of course, you got an email from me at the same time, right? So Benz, we are already discussing things. We're already in a conversation, right? So George on the right says, "Thank you for all the advice. I'm pretty new on LinkedIn. I'd love to have a call." He's ready to talk. Okay. He's already starting sharing some more personal things about him, right? And then he thanked me for endorsing him. So you can see here, I had different things going on just to get on their radar, right? It's not just like we talked before. It's not just about doing one thing. He's doing multiple things. And that's what Tim does. He overwhelms them with his pretty face everywhere, right? So they can't get away from it, right? So that's what happens, right? And then Mary on the bottom left, that's pretty interesting. She's pretty savvy with social selling. So she actually analyzed my messages. She just analyzed this sequence. Actually felt very natural. That's what we want, right? I recognize that you integrated credibility components, reciprocation, problem definition, solution, and CTA. It's a masterpiece. I booked a course. So that's pretty simple. We're just 2 messages later, we're already talking, right? So, but it's not like I'm following a specific protocol and script. The more you do it, the more natural it becomes to you. We know we are good sellers. We're good social selling sellers, and we integrate those elements in our messages directly. But in my book, pay attention, notice them first, pay attention to them first. You know, that's how I get people to be interested in talking to me. Okay, so now remember, you're creating a lot of buzz on LinkedIn, on email, etc. Right? So what is all of this going to happen? Maybe your team posted a great piece of content. People are reading his content. They are curious. Who is this guy, team? Right? They're going to look at his profile. So what happens now with Sales Navigator, guys? LinkedIn is going to show you every person who visited your profile. That's pretty amazing, right? Think about it. You know, you have a business website. You would love to know who visits your website, right? Who is interested in your products and services, right? Well, LinkedIn shows you exactly who is interested in you. Super powerful. So, you know, this is a sample strategy. So this is really the only active campaign I have in my business. You know, it's basically I invite my profile viewers. Now I'm a little more choosy now because there's a lot of spams and fake accounts. So I'm still trying to keep the quality of my network high. Okay. But you can see the example of kind of people that come from my profile viewers, right? I mean, you know, VP of marketings, managers. I mean, you know, there's a lot of directors, engineers, managing directors, CEOs. It's very pretty high quality stuff. So I'm sharing you my secret weapon, guys, in the bottom left here. This is the invitation I send them, you know, if I don't personalize it. So I say, hey, John, I noticed you visited my profile. Let's merge our networks. Let me know how I can help. Well, some people think it's too aggressive. It works for me, you know, instead of saying, let me know how I can help. It says, I look forward to learning more about you and exploring how we can support each other. If you are more warm, even warmer and fuzzier than me, okay? So find your style. So, you know, with this strategy, we get 65, 2 out of 3 people accept my invitation. And they already see that it's personalized. They're much more likely to open your email. Make sense? Oh, team, do you want to take this one over? Or should we just skip it? I know we are running
I'll be really quick. So we're going to record this, but
Yeah.
Ruben Hassad is phenomenal with AI for anyone that knows who he is. So there's a couple different models out there. So Gemini is Google, ChatGPT is Microsoft and OpenAI, and then this new model Claude 3 that Ruben did. So if you get a chance, check it out. It looks pretty amazing. You'll have the replay so you can go deeper into the stats. But yeah, Claude 3 is really interesting.
Yeah, and please do follow Ruben Hassad for everything AI. So educate yourself. You know, he shared a lot of great content, a lot of great value. So he's really a great influencer to follow for everything AI. Okay. All right. Now there are also some other cool systems where you can actually personalize intro video at scale. So I don't know about you, but there's a lot of different you know, selling schools that advocate sending personalized Loom videos, right? So instead of a DM message, right, it says, hey, develop, you know, a 30 second, 1 minute personalized Loom video and email that video, send it on LinkedIn, right? Direct approach. Why is it powerful? It's powerful because they get to experience you, you know, your energy, your drive, your passion. They see you talk, okay, and so it's easier to make an emotional connection that way than with a text message, right? Obviously. So here, you know, again, we have tested a number of systems. Here I'm showing you a system that we're using. That's super powerful. So all you have to do is you record one single video of yourself in Zoom, Loom, whatever, right? And you see that's my pretty little face in that bubble on the bottom left of that video, right? And then that bubble can come to a big bubble in the middle or fill up the screen eventually at some time in the video. So you as a client, you record one little video. And then the software just goes to work for you and superimpose your video on the background related to your client, to your target audience. So it could be their LinkedIn profile, it could be their LinkedIn company page, it could be their website page, it could be their YouTube video channels, whatever, right? I mean, there's a number of choices here. So here I'm showing you an example where I'm showing that person's profile directly, and there is their face on it too. So when I send that video, so you can see I can put a call to action here, book my calendar, book a free consultation. You know, your calendar can show under the video as well. Well, what's pretty cool, of course, you're going to personalize the video title with their name, their company name. What's cool with that is when you share that personalized link on LinkedIn or email, they are going to see a preview image of that video, just like I'm showing you here. Okay. So they're much more likely to click, okay, because they're seeing their face and your face. It doesn't get any more personalized than this, does it? Even so, they may not know that I'm using automation there, right? Because the video URL is branded to my own company URL. So pretty cool stuff, right? So, you know, we're showing you there's a number of tools there. So what's cool about AI, don't try to use ChatGPT for everything, but use specialized AI tools for specialized tasks. That's what works best.
This is like the big misnomer. It's not a one size fits all with AI. There's very specific tools that are very good at specific tasks. So you've got to think of AI as a tool belt, not, you know, a specific tool. There's lots of tools that go in your tool belt.
Exactly. So it is to give you an example of some kind of results. Again, remember, so they look at that email, they're going to see a preview video. They look at that LinkedIn message, they're going to see that preview image video there, right, with your pretty face and their face. And then there's an example. This is a very small test, very, very highly targeted test we did. What was it? I guess it was in December, a couple 3 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it was only 20 people, guys. Okay, so it's just a small test. But look at the email open rate, right? So 90% of them opened the email, 50% clicked, and 20% of them replied. Okay, so those numbers are outstanding. Number one, it tells me that I have 100% delivery rate is inbox, and you know, so I got 4 bookings out of that. Okay, and those are high quality SQLs. Okay, and by the way, this was a totally cold outreach, people that have never heard of me or don't know me. Okay, so that was a totally cold outreach, to give you some idea. Here's another example here, a larger number of people, 82 recipients, 87% open rate, 34% click rate, and 6 people, actually it was more than 6. I got 8 bookings out of this particular campaign. Okay, pretty cool stuff, right? So so there's a lot of different things involved in that, right? So the first thing involved in technology, and so we're fortunate to have with us on Friday Ed Photo, Mr. Deliverability. You know, he's our go-to email guy. So he's going to tell you all about what to do and what not to do, and how to ensure you have delivery to the inbox. And then, Tim, do you want to introduce Jeremy a little bit also for Friday?
Yeah, so Jeremy's just very good at in-person gifting. So if you think about the olden days where, you know, you may send a handwritten note to somebody, he's really gotten around the idea of sending gifts at strategic times to, you know, go through exponential value. So I'll share more of that success when he's on the call of what I've seen work this year with that. So I think that should be great. And then if we have time, it'll be Friday. We can probably walk through the events stuff as well and show you how, you know, during COVID, post-COVID, even in real life and virtual events are just helping you all crush your number.
That's wonderful. Now I guess we could still go 5 minutes. I forgot to talk about LinkedIn events.
Yeah, I figured we could grab it on Friday.
Grab it on Friday? Okay, no problem. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, that's fine. I think everybody's yeah.
Awesome. Well, I know we started a little bit late, so I wanted to let us go for a little bit to make sure.
Yeah, that sounds great. Great. Hopefully we have so thank you for those that were able to attend live. We appreciate you, and we hope to see you on Friday again for more exciting and less known selling strategies. And Tim you and I will communicate to make sure we get this replay out to everybody tomorrow, and share the link for Friday.
Perfect. Appreciate everyone joining.
Okay, thank you so much, guys.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.